AC. I want to acknowledge our sponsors. We have Mr. Adjoli from Supreme Lending. Then we have Mr. Marvin Reese from CLA Title Company. Before we continue, I would like to introduce to you the visionary of this event and great organization. That is the International Association of African Real Estate Professionals. Please help me welcome Mr. Henry Yawson, the CEO of IAAREP.
Anyway, welcome all. Thank you so much for you guys being here. We really appreciate you guys. International Association of African Real Estate Professionals. Our mission is to foster a united and thriving community of African real estate professionals within the diaspora. Our organization is dedicated to creating a bridge between real estate professionals in the diaspora and the African continent, while empowering and advancing the careers of individuals in the real estate industry, promoting diversity, inclusivity, and equitable opportunities within the sector. The vision for our organization, and I'll read it as well, and the reason I want to read it, I want to make sure we capture everything, is to be the leading and unifying force in advancing the success and representation of African real estate professionals throughout the diaspora. We envision a dynamic and diverse real estate industry where real estate professionals of African heritage are recognized, celebrated, and empowered to achieve new heights of excellence and influence. All right, with that said, the reason behind this is, I don't know, most of you are realtors, so you've all heard of AREA, you've all heard of other organizations. We haven't had an organization that's specifically of African heritage realtors or real estate professionals whose agenda really is to create a bridge between the United States and the continent. So it's not just a group of people practicing here just in the US, but a focus on actually traveling to the countries on the continent and fostering that relationship. So our organization really is the ecosystem, our ecosystem will be around that. Now, to kind of give you more of a genesis to see where this came from, I would like to introduce a very intelligent young lady.
Thank you all so much for coming this evening. We really, really appreciate you all being here as a part of our genesis. It's just a blessing. So just to give you a little background on us, where did this start from? You will not believe it, but it started over 20 years ago. So the International Association of African Real Estate Professionals was actually born from a brilliant idea that one David Adefella, he had, and he had a partner, and they came up with this idea. It's over 20 years ago. And what they wanted to do was basically create an organization that bridged African real estate professionals or African real estate of descent of African real estate professionals with the actual continent and do business. He wanted you all to know that we were new. We were new and next. Africa was new and next and was ready to go. And there was so much business and so many opportunities there that we all needed to get into it. But for some reason, over time, that didn't work out. It was time and time again, but he never gave up the hope that one day that we would be in this space and in this place. So I'm excited to be here. So just a little background on that. It was about 20 years ago, he and a friend had this idea. David, we call him Chief, so I'll refer to him as Chief for the rest of this story. He's originally from Nigeria. They had the idea to make this organization, and things didn't work out. And when I think about the way things didn't work out, I think of Esther 4:14, for such a time as this. Right? At that time, it didn't work out, but the idea was there. And they kept trying and trying, but it wouldn't work out. But the idea was there. So, it just so happened he was on the Global Business Committee that we are all on. That's how we all got together. Global Business Committee for the State of Maryland Realtors. And we're in committee, and just picture it. It's mid-COVID 2021. July, as a matter of fact, and we're having a meeting to see if we're still going to Africa, because now, we got vaccines coming out, everything's getting a little better. Who wants to go? Who wants to go? So the president of the association of our Global Business Association was like, you know what, we still want to go. So there was less than 10 of us, And we were like, we're going. So they put the trip together. Actually, believe it or not, the young lady who spearheaded the Ghana part of the trip is in the room tonight. Catherine Teki Mensah. She is here. She is here. In the front row, yes. And she put that leg together, and let me tell you, that trip was amazing. That trip was an amazing trip. We started, as most trade missions do, we start with the culture of the place, and we started with, then we went to a trade show, then we went to different, we went to visit different builders and things like that, and it was awesome. So we get there, and we have an amazing time. And so we were so excited. We went there as, we ended up with 7 people going. But by the time we left, we were 7 individuals. When we came back, we were family. We were family with the same express goal of seeing Chief's vision come true. And that we started to try to do that. And again, we had ups and downs. We had some bumps in the roads to try to get things happening. And sometimes, you go to start something and it just stays in one place. But then we said, you know what, we don't want it to end here. We promised we would see his goal through, we would see his vision, we would see his dream. And here we are at the beginning, at the genesis, as Henry says, of this wonderful, amazing journey we're going to go on. We're going to continue on, because we started, and now we're going to continue. We're just so happy that you all decided to come out and share this moment with us. There are more moments to come. You guys are going to get sick of us. You're going to get sick of us. But what I want you to know, more importantly, is that you are part of something larger than yourselves. You may not see it now, but eventually, hopefully, you'll have the same vision that we had when we went on that trip. And it was like something clicked inside all of us. When you can take people who've never been together anywhere, well, I guess you might have known each other, but we didn't know each other. We're living together for 8 days or something like that. And at the end of that time, when you're family, we all have very different personalities. Some of them are bigger than others, some of them smaller than others, some of them shy and quiet like myself, and don't like to talk a lot. Really.
Okay.
Oh, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Anyway, but we all have one core goal in mind, and that's to bridge the gap between America and other parts of the diaspora and the continent of Africa. There's so much going on. You just don't even know. So thank you all again for being here, and I will give you back to the CEO.
She was being modest. We had a ball. She was all over the place. They went to Cape Coast. They had a ball. It was cathartic for some of them. But anyway, without further ado, anyway, thank you, Nikki. Appreciate you. What she said was very true. Is the experience was so much, because as most of you already know, there are a lot of people that go on trips to Africa, and now Ghana is en vogue, so everybody's going to Ghana, especially in December, dirty December, so everybody goes for that. This organization is not for that. You can take a trip and go have fun and, what's that word, twerk and do all those things. But you can do that. That's not this organization, right? The thing that clicked, as Nikki was saying, was we had the opportunity to meet with the what do you call it, the member of parliament, and also we met with I think it was the director of the housing agency,
Right,
housing,
and the land trust.
right? And we met with we actually had a meeting with a couple of people. So, but that's just a taste of what you're going to learn more. I would like to introduce our superstar, who was with us, and you all will know and you will understand when she comes up. I would like everybody to welcome Miss Mimi. Should I give you your government name?
No. I just want to echo what my colleague said. Thank you guys again for taking out time to come and hear about our mission and what it is that we have to offer. I am, as Henry would say, Madam Mimi. And I am so honored to be a part of this organization. So honored to be a part of the ground zero work for this. So my portion of this is to tell you guys what it is that we did when we were over there. So to start out, we had to prepare for the trip. And preparation she was involved. We had to get the embassies involved. We had to make sure that we had the right visas. They called over and informed that we were delegates coming over to explore the country, to make sure that we were connected with the right people. And that was essential. Part of our trip, when we planned it out, we actually planned out each day what we were going to do, how we were going to accomplish that task. We had the driver, we had the vaccines, we had all of that stuff taken care of, hotel accommodations, everything was done months and months ahead of time. But when we got there, we literally had a meeting after we checked in. We met with chiefs, we met with architects, we met with builders, we met with other realtors that were actually doing the business in the country, and we also went out and visited different businesses that we could engage with, because 3 of us had Amazon stores, so we were able to connect with some people to have that exchange and help their marketplace as well as help our marketplace here. So it was a great opportunity for us to not only grow our business, but see what it is that we could offer them as well. We had an opportunity to tour luxury real estate in Ghana, in East Legon and where?
East Legon.
East Legon.
There you go.
And where else did we go over there? I forget the communities, I'm sorry, I don't remember every community. But it blew us away, because what we see on TV is not what you experience when you cross the continent. It's something that you experience over there that makes you feel like you belong there and you desire to go back. You desire to build. But what does building look like? What does it mean? If we build here, do we own the land? Do we own the deeds? So we had to find all of that out. If you're not a citizen, then you get a 99-year lease. You can build upon that land. There's certain types of land. I'm not going to go into all of that right now. We can discuss that further on. But we found out that there are at least 4 to 5 different type of land purchases that you can actually have. So it's not like the U.S. You just buy the land, you build a property, etc. It's a little more complicated. Who can sell you the land? Apparently anybody. we found that out. Anybody can sell you the land. Oh, you want some land? It's land right over there. How much you trying to spend? And so we found this out. We was like, okay, well, we can't be selling properties over there, and anybody can. So basically, whoever would record the deed first was the owner. So you can have one person sell the same land 10 to 20 times, and whoever went in and recorded the deed first was the actual owner. So I'm saying that to say we did the homework. So if you wanted to refer someone to us, we know what we need to do. We know who we need to talk to, because we have their numbers. We talk to them on a regular basis. However, we also came up with ways that we could help them structure their system. And there was a few other of our colleagues from Global over there doing the same thing. They don't have an MLS. They don't have a real way of marketing what's for sale. So as experienced realtors over here, we decided, not us solely, but as a group, that this is something that they could benefit from. And this could help us not lose our money when we come over there to purchase. Okay, so we made a lot of movement over there, made a lot of connections, and we feel like we're standing on solid ground. We have even contacted mortgage lenders and different mortgage companies that will finance your purchase over there in Ghana. You can set up bank accounts. There are so many things that you can do to establish yourself there before you even get over there fully. So there is also a community of Americans that went there during the pandemic. We had an opportunity to meet with some of them and talk to some of them. A lot of them have retired from the U.S. and decided to make Ghana their home. It's a great place to stay. We also, I'm sorry, I didn't even follow my agenda, but we went to, we toured the museums. We went to the slave castle. We went to the marketplace. We went to the sandbox. I had a fit. I had to go to the sandbox. I had found it on the internet. And nobody wanted to go to the sandbox but me. They was like, nobody's ever heard of the sandbox. I said, because it's brand new. It's new. I'm showing them pictures. There's like, this place, nobody knows about this place. The sandbox is a beautiful new upscale restaurant. I told them I wanted to ride horses in the water along the beach. They told me that didn't exist. Well, guess what? They finally went to the sandbox with me, and it was horses on the beach. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. So I was out there riding my horses, and they sitting up there watching me. But the cuisine was great. Delicious, fresh, every day. Everybody, from my church, they had prayed for me, and they was like, oh, don't be eating the food when you go over there. But, the food was great. It was the best thing that, thank you. It was the best thing that could have ever happened over there. In addition to real estate, commerce, the luxury lifestyle, the regular lifestyle, we found that there was a deficit with affordable housing. So we met with the authorities that were trying to get investors to come over there to build affordable housing. And we actually toured several affordable housing communities, and I think the price was like $50,000, $45,000 for a 3-bedroom, kitchen, yard, all of that. Very nice place to stay. We saw a lot of mansions. We saw a lot of stuff over there, but we've done the groundwork. We've made the connections, and I believe that if you connect with us, we can continue this going, and we could be that tribe that continues to help Ghana thrive, as well as build the bridge, like we say, because there are people over there that are coming over here, and if you're a realtor, that's a sale for you. You're already connected. They're going to plug into you. And you've been over there, you've met them, and you're going to get that business. And whoever else is here that needs to sell, you're going to get that business. So it is a bridge. We're bridging our businesses together. And with that being said, I didn't follow my total agenda, but the castle. The castle was an amazing experience. I think we all cried. A lot of things happened there. It was a great time at the castle. I highly recommend it. And I done found some new stuff, some waterfalls and some other things that I'm going to attend. But at this juncture, I'm going to end my speech and turn it over to Henry. But we want to welcome Chief. Chief is the one who was our visionary for this. So Chief, can you stand, please?
Come on, Chief, stand up. Before I go any further, I would like to ask Chief to come up and say a couple of things. Reason being, we owe a deference to Chief. He talked to us about being part of the original CIPS certification class. And I'll explain that later for those of you who are not aware. Most of you are, but for those who are not, I'll explain that. But Chief was part of that. And also, he saw the difference in the marketplace, right? Because during if you can imagine, the 80s, the 90s, it's not like now when you go to Africa as far as the development and the deficits and how it is now. And he was there, he saw all of that. So that was part of his reasoning to be, to get this organization, up and running. But I'm not going to speak for him because we are gracious enough for him to come. So Chief, if you don't mind, please step up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to be here. As you said, I was more than 30 years, 30 years ago, I think I was undergoing training for the CIPS, which is Satisfy International Real Estate Professionals. So when we were having that class, all of them, they were talking about all the other continents except Africa. I was so upset because most of our instructors then, in fact, they are like you. So the leader there, which happened to be the president of Northern Virginia Real Estate Association, I called him. He said, "Sir," I said, "there's something you are missing." He said, "What?" "You are talking about this, that, and that, but nothing about Africa." I said, "In the next century, Africa will be a gold mine in real estate." He said, "Oh, David, I didn't think about that." So that's the beginning of it. He said, "What do we do?" I said, "Let's start so. And we are meeting once a month. And unfortunately, he passed away because he set something up in Europe, and we are trying to use the same thing in Africa. So for about 20 years, the spirit died. I couldn't do it by myself. So invariably, my sisters and him, we met at the global committee. So we chat about it. I was okay, where do we go from there? You have the idea, let's move on. Then we went to Ghana, as I said. It was a good eye-opener. And, but the vision that I have is, as you know, they call Africa, some of the third world, developing continent or countries. When they say it's not developed, it's developing, you have to flow with the weather so that you flow with the time. There's going to be development there. And everybody I spoke with, they said, well, who's going to do it? You are the people who's going to do it. Because Africa is a gold mine for people who has vision to do it. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy because, first of all, maybe some of us are from Africa, but dealing with our people, we have to deal with them, So, and the key, as they said, there's a lot of low housing scheme that is not going on well. Most of you, as you can realize from Africa, who's building the houses? They are the government. And that's one of the things I said, look, the government has no business building housing, but the government have to create environment for investors to come in. And this is where you will be coming in to do everything. So, thank you for coming. There's more to do. Sitting here is the beginning. And so, we will appreciate if you join hands and invest with us in Africa, because Africa is there. Many countries, just like, say, Ghana, we went to, in fact, I call Ghana Second America. Yeah, because, everybody asks, are you from Ghana? Oh yeah, I'd like to go back. Why? Every country has their own problem. Mm-hmm. Now, recently, they have some economic problem. Okay, it's going in America. It's going all over. But again, when things is bad, reasonable people makes money. Mm-hmm. So we have to start thinking about how we're going to create wealth in Africa, for Africans and for you. God bless you.
All right, so next steps. This organization, we are hoping most of you will like to be a part of it, because obviously we can't do it by ourselves. The idea is to have a relationship with African countries, right? To have a relationship with other real estate professionals in those countries, right? Because we are professionals here, or we have an interest. If you're not even a realtor, but you have an interest in real estate here, right? And you know it here. But if you have an interest on the continent, remember it's 54 countries, right? They are not all developed the same. So there is a need there. So we want to position ourselves and our members to be on the forefront of doing that, of having that relationship. right? And that's what this organization is about. Like my colleague said, this is the beginning of it. So you guys are literally on the ground floor, right? We just got all our documentation in. It's a registered entity. But we want people who are motivated, people who have an interest to be a part of it. Because you can have a ton of people, you can have 1,000 people, but if there's no motivation, it goes nowhere. You can have 50 people who are motivated, and you can do way more than 1,000 people. All right, so that's really what we hope we get from you guys. All right, so next steps. One of the things that we want to do, and we've started doing this already, is to establish relationships with the embassies here. That's the first step. One thing that Nikki said and Mimi echoed it was, it's easy. You can just go get a visa and travel to any African country you want. You can literally do that, right? So why go through an organization? The difference is when we went, we said, look, instead of just getting the visa and going there, let's follow the protocol. So we sent a letter to the Ghana embassy, right? We met with the attaché a couple of times. They sent a letter to the housing in Ghana so that they can welcome us there, right? And what that did, or what that established, is credibility for us. So when we went, we were able to meet with the minister. They invited us to their office. That's when I found out. I'm from Ghana, and I didn't know this, but they had changed the housing laws in Ghana at that point. People in Ghana didn't even know about it, right? And that's because of reforms that Mimi was talking about, because they had a history whereby people were just getting duped. I mean, it still happens now, but they're trying to curtail it, right? They streamlined, to give you an example, it was like the Wild Wild West, basically, right? So you could get up and say, okay, I see a piece of land, I know, and I may be going into the weeds, so please forgive me, but you can ask me questions. So it could be over there, they've categorized their ownership of land differently, right? They have what is called a stool land. When I say a stool land, basically what it means is in Africa we have chiefs, we have kings, right? They are the custodians of the land, right? So those chiefs in any region or any group, the chiefs are the custodians of the land. They are the ones taking care of the land. They are the ones empowered to sell or not sell the land, right? And then they have family lands. You have certain families that, by virtue of whatever position they were in, that actually own lands, right? So, and then they have, depending on if you are in the northern region or the southern region, they have, or if you are a Muslim, or if you're on the Christian side, on the Muslim side, they have what is called a skin land. Basically, it's the same thing as a chief land. That's just the terminology. But they are the ones that sell the land. But what happens is the chief is one man, but the chief has advisors. So those advisors, one person will sell the land to Nikki, another advisor will sell the same land to Nikki, and in some cases, the same advisor will sell the land to Mimi, to me, to you, to you. So it's like they sell it so many times, right? And that was causing a problem, right? So that was one of the issues that, they had reformed. And once again, when we went there, I was sorry to say I didn't know anything about it, right? But that's what I learned. And that helps me because now all my land acquisitions, I knew how to go the right way, right? Because and now I can advise my clients that's doing that. So by going that route and establish those relationships, it gives us credibility. That's what we want this organization to have, that credibility, right? That's one. The other aspect too is we want to deal with people who are in the same field in their countries. Because granted, we are here, so we don't know how they truly practice. One of the mistakes that a lot of people make, and I made, is like you go and you travel. Those of you who travel, you go, but you go with your mentality from here over there, right? And you are trying to figure out why they're doing those things by using your mind over here. And that's where the conflict comes. So what we want to create is a situation where it's a mutual respect, right? Mutual respect for the practitioners there. So it's exchange of ideas. So we are meeting our peers and we're exchanging ideas, right? You know, you don't want to poo-poo another person's idea without you understanding it, because you may learn something that we can implement here. So our organization, what we want to do is have that exchange, peer-to-peer, where we have groups there that will meet, just like we did. It was eye-opening meeting realtors from Ghana, because there are pioneers that have been doing this. Vicky, that's her name, I was trying to remember her name. There's a lady by the name of Vicky, and she's pioneered putting, what do you call it? Not the MLS, but an association, right? Like just like NAR, just like Maryland Association of Realtors, they want to streamline that. So they've put that association together in Ghana. And God being so good, that association now has been adopted by the government. So it's part of that. So they actually have a seat when it comes to the housing sector, right? Now, why is that important? The same thing that's important here. I know for those of you who are realtors, we've been going through some challenges lately, right? With the laws and everything. But what people fail to realize, as a realtor, you have to know your value. What is our value? Let me break it down this way. What makes this market great is that what those realtors who are part of MLS is what we've been doing for years. What is that? We get a listing, we take pictures. Now I'm just going to define it very narrowly, so follow me. You get a listing, you take pictures. You put that listing in the MLS. You give it value. Somebody buys it, you put that price on there. It gives it value. You do the same thing. So imagine 1 million realtors do that in every region, right? Now what does that create? That creates a value for that property, right? So now let's say you have a property that you've owned for 20 years. You are paying the mortgage down. Because she put the listing in and put it sold, Mimi did the same thing and gave it value in today's market. Now your property, if you were to do an appraisal and they did an appraisal based on just reconstructing the home. Now your property, let's say you bought it in Bowie. It's a colonial, 4-bedroom, it's not a colonial. If they were to reproduce that same building, maybe you bought it in 95, it was built in 95. If you were to reconstruct that building, you can do, let's say, $175,000, right? So, however, because she sold the same house and put the pictures in, that is similar to yours, and put the amount that it was sold for, which was for $700,000. Now, guess what? Your house is worth what? $750,000, right? So now let's say you want to send your kid to college. You can refinance that house, take some money, send your kid to college. Let's say we didn't do that at all and MLS didn't exist. I'm a lender. You want to borrow money from me. I want to know what the value is. So what do? Send an appraiser there. How much will it cost in today's dollars to reconstruct that building? Because that building is going to be what? Collateral for the loan I'm giving you, right? So if it's a collateral, I want to make sure that, God forbid, fire burns it down or something happens, I could get my money. We have an insurance person here. Am I wrong? Right? So what do? They will get the value. Since there is no MLS, now I have to go by what it will cost to build it. So now all of a sudden your house is from 94 or 95 to now is worth $175,000. And I'm going to give you a percentage of that, right? So let's look at it. $750,000, $175,000. Which is better? Right? And guess who made that possible? We did. Right? Collectively, by putting that information in there, taking pictures. How many of you practicing realtors, when you sell a house and an appraiser is going to appraise the house, they'll call you. Yeah. Right? They call you, hey, tell me about the house that you sold. To help them come up with the value. Right? Now, how does that work? Now you correlate all that information. Right? You have that. Now it creates a marketplace. There's money. You can use the money for other things. Now let's go to another country. It's not formalized. So it's the Wild Wild West. You built your house. You start your business, you need money. You go to the bank, hey, I need money. I have the house, it's worth something. But it's not formalized. So the bank can decide, You built the house. Maybe I could sell the house for $450,000. Maybe I can't. I'll give you $10,000. Or maybe no, I can't take the risk because there's no way I can tell the value of the house. So guess what? There is no way of getting money to do business, right? That's the difference, right? It's having a marketplace where people can actually, individuals, right, can create commerce, create money, use money to do other things, leverage their asset. But if there's no way of valuing that asset, now you can't leverage it, right? We take it for granted until you travel to other countries and see that, wow, that sector is not active. They have no way of knowing, right? So now there's no way of getting money. Another factor, here you have communities, you don't have trash laying around. They pick the trash up, right? Go to some other countries, nobody's picking up the trash because nobody's paying for it, right? Because nobody's paying taxes. What are taxes? Who's supposed to pay for it? The government is supposed to pay for it? You see what I mean? That's the value that we as realtors bring to the table, which is huge. It is huge if you look at it in that context, right? And that's what we can share with our counterparts overseas, right? And that's what I see. That's why I value realtors so much. I value real estate agents because I'm like, you guys just don't know the value that you have. It's not about literally getting a car, driving somebody around. No, they can go do that themselves. It's about all the other things that we do that gives it value, that makes that economy work on that level, right? And you really don't appreciate it until you travel to other countries, right? So that's what, I know I'm getting a little long-winded. I'm passionate about it, as you could tell, and I think we have a value that we can give. So I really will encourage all of you to join our organization. Let's work together. The benefits of that is now we want people that may have, let's say you like dealing with Ethiopia. Now we have a representative that deals with Ethiopia that we can go through. We have somebody that's Kenya. We have somebody that's in, in Senegal, right? Now we have somebody that we can say, hey, you go to Senegal, we want to go there. Let's go study the market, right? Let's go places where people are afraid not to go because of stigma or whatever, right? We wouldn't know until we have somebody that's from there that can say, oh, don't worry about it. This is what we have to do, right? And that's what this organization is about, right? So I'm encouraging you all, just let's join hands, let's work together. We are going to, once we have your information, we'll email you guys our next steps. The biggest thing that we have coming up, obviously we'll continue building up the membership. We'll start visiting the embassies. We have established relationships with 3 embassies. We want to increase that. And then the next step is September, October. September, October is when we are going to actually launch our organization, right? With the members that we have. We want to hit a certain target, and then we're going to launch that. We started working on that courtesy of Madam Nikki. We are proposing a location in the district to make it central. So we'll roll that out too once we kind of finalize that, all right? I really, really appreciate you all. I don't want to talk too much.